Jennie-Marie, it's a great pleasure speaking to you on this momentous occasion. What would be the impact of the recent SEC ruling on companies, particularly publicly traded companies?
Hi, Nikki. Lovely to see you again. So indeed, who does this impact and when, right? Which companies will be affected by the SEC's new climate disclosure rules? And indeed, how can businesses use them as a win for business? So it's quite heavy and it starts very quickly. The first is in 2025, which is all large companies, which means 700 million and above in market value. They will have to disclose in fiscal year 25. And in 2026, next up are the mid-cap companies. So that's 75 to 700 million in market value. And then it comes for the little guys, which is in 2027, and all the smaller companies will have to start to disclose in that year. And the requirements, the new reporting rules include a long, long list. I mean, this is a 900-page document. So it's corporate governance, management and board responsibility, description of their board and senior management's oversight of climate risks, strategies, business operations, and information on exposure and transition plans, and how they're going to mitigate these risks. So climate-related targets and wider transition plans is going to be the major challenge for businesses that haven't been reporting so far. And they're required to do scenario analysis, and they have to actually publish the results of these analysis if they're material on the business.
Can you give an example of what scope 1 to 2 would mean in the business context?
So, of course, we talked about scope 1 and scope 2 greenhouse gas emissions, and that again means the emissions that I generate in operating my business and the emissions that I generate in powering my business, the energy, the purchased energy. And everyone's quite cross that there's no scope 3, but I think that there's enough work to be done for those who haven't begun reporting yet.
What are the implications for people's investment portfolios?
So very important on this list of requirements is the transition plans. So the key metrics and the actions and descriptions of how you're going to be reducing the impact. How are you going to get to net zero? Because this isn't just greenhouse gas disclosures. This is going to be very important because this is the planning around how you're going to mitigate your negative climate impacts. And this is where your investors are going to be able to see who's going to be a thriving business in the future. Because this new reporting requirement can be compared to financial accounting and how we've collectively used it as a proxy for business health and viability, and certainly potential for outperforming the market over time. So in the near and midterm future, businesses who have accurately identified how they will thrive in a net zero world, where business is expected to have a positive impact, or at least not a negative impact on people and planet, these will be the ones with the buy signals. You're looking for the ones who have a positive impact in the future, and you can now be able to see this in the SEC's reporting. So this is not a big surprise to proactive companies. Globally, the majority of companies, nearly 80%, have been reporting on climate disclosures, risks, and strategies to mitigate. But to many US companies who haven't been reporting, and this is over 50%, in fact, well below, so we can expect many will be scrambling to assemble viable plans to meet the SEC requirements. And that means doing their deep research on what they're expected to change in their business practices. What this really means is which solutions will you be investing in, based on your business sector, based on your product feedstocks, packaging, materials, and processes. What interventions have you recognized are your responsibility to make? I'm an agricultural company. I must not pollute land. That is what is happening in acidifying the ocean. I am not using concrete in the same way as now, where it is one of the most intense emissions processes.
What signals should the commodity market investors be looking at in this current context?
So reporting is usually seen as a cost center. But in the case of climate sustainability reporting, this is actually an opportunity for value creation. This is a demonstration of competitive advantage. This lets market stakeholders understand the actions that you are taking to create a positive impact and that you will be around in the sustainable future. And the good news is that all of these solutions are already out there. But it does take some deep homework and research and process innovation to identify those pathways to transition. So get at it. Thanks again, Nikki. It was lovely chatting with you again. See you again soon.
How would you explain the negative backlash against the ruling in the media?